Hi Cassandra.
Hi.
So glad to be connected with you.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
And I know you from CBS. I've been following your Instagram and Insta story, and it has been updated every single day.
Yeah.
And there's so much thing going on, and you're like hustling, and you're doing what you're passionate about, and you're doing what you love to do. So tell us a little bit more about your feature in CBS.
Yeah, so there's a TV show called This Is SF. They go around the country checking out the local businesses that are within that certain city. So the first season was This Is LA, and that got picked up by CBS. So there was a production company that said, hey, let's try this, let's do it. I mean, it's very common in LA. And CBS loved it, and they said, we want to put this on our network. So when they moved on to San Francisco, I was one of the first few that they had reached out to, and I thought it was a scam. I thought it was a joke. I was like, there's no way. Stephanie Stimler was in the car with me when I got that call, and I was just like, really? You know, like, you guys want to interview me? And they're like, you know, you have something about you. We've been following you for a while, which is also what you had said. They were like, we've been just silently watching you. And I think that's something important that I started to like, okay, what are people really getting out of, you know, am I really giving them valuable content? What am I saying? What am I doing? You know, and people are actually watching me to possibly approach me for things like this. Like, I have an influence on people. I was like, yeah, sure. Like, I would love to meet with you. And they were like, okay, well, Robert Parks Valletta, he's this, you know, famous actor. He's gonna come interview you and your team about your business. And boom, a couple months later, I was on TV in front of a couple million people, and now you're sitting here. Yeah. And it has snowballed into something great. I mean, the episode's up on YouTube, but it's supposed to be on Netflix or Hulu or something like that. And now they're on to other cities, I believe, like Chicago. Like, they're doing a bunch, you know, now it's going to be a national, you know, show. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's really an honor to be connected with you. So tell us more about who you are. I'm sure all the audience would like to know.
Yeah, so I am 29, about to turn 30 this December, and my fiance and I have been engaged for a year now. We have the same birthday, so I think that's really cool. But I met him in Seattle. I'm from Seattle, and now I live here in Palo Alto, California, so Silicon Valley. I moved here and really didn't, you know, I moved here after a guy, you know, he's my boyfriend at the time, and I was just trying to make it work. And I had a little salon in Seattle, but I was like, you know what, let me just go for it. I'm getting older. I want to, you know, settle down. And so I moved down, and I was like, what am I going to do? I have to start all over again with my business. I have a mobile salon. I have a mobile beauty company. And I was like, what am I going to do? So I just did it. I made the move, and I grew my business from there. Now I'm doing a lot of different things. I'm a beauty director for the Sustainable Project, which is a movement to educate the community on the environmental impacts of the fashion, home, and beauty industries. So there's 3 founders. I'm one of them. And so we just had our lunch party for that. So that's a whole thing that I'm working on. My job really is to find beauty brands who are really truly sustainable, organic, natural, like healthy, no chemicals. I have been working with a lot of different brands, Beauty Counter is one of them, and I really just am passionate about clean health, you know, wellness. So that's one of the aspects. And then the other one is I have an education platform. I teach makeup and HD beauty. And so I went to school 10 years, 15 years ago, but now I also teach young women about beauty, and, you know, actually young and old. So I do a lot of that. And then also when I moved here, I didn't know what the Rising Tide was, but I became a member of the Rising Tide Society, and I was hustling, driving like either to San Francisco or San Jose to a chapter meeting. And I started like, well, it's so far for me to drive at 6 o'clock in rush hour to get to a meeting, to meet everybody. And one of the leaders was like, why don't you start your own chapter? And I didn't know that was possible. So I founded the Silicon Valley Rising Tide Society. So I lead that and host monthly meetings. I volunteer my time to give back to the community, the creative community. We have about 170, 90% women in that group now, which is on Facebook and Honeybook and all over. And so we do a lot of styled shoots, and I also founded and created Bay Area styled shoots. And so I do that, and that is kind of stems from that, because I want to help all the different artists that, with whatever they're doing, if it's calligraphy or photography, or they just are models or whatever, I want to bring styled shoots together. So I coordinate and plan styled shoots. And so that was how that little side business was born. There's an entry fee to be involved in the shoot, and then 10% of the proceeds go to the sustainable project. So I try to link it all together, and then I also have my team always with hair and makeup. We do have other beauty professionals that come on board to style if they would like, but I have a modeling background. So it was super easy for me to set that all up and, say, hey, I have hair, makeup, models, clothes. I have all these connections. Let's do shoots. And, a lot of styled shoots are really how you build your business in the wedding industry. To get and have really amazing photos on your website to show other brides what you can do. A lot of people don't want their pictures up on your website. They don't want their private, intimate moments up there. It's up to the bride. So that's why we do a lot of styled shoots in our industry, because we have faux brides and grooms and wedding parties that come together, and it also helps us get published and do that, fairy tale, perfect looking wedding. And so I was awarded the Knot Best of Weddings this past year. I was honored with that, and my team is just so amazing. I'm also a member of the Chamber of Commerce in Palo Alto, so I do a lot of philanthropy, giving back. I work with a lot of different local organizations here, and with a lot of local businesses, so it's kind of a mouthful, but that's kind of the main, I guess, main touch points. The hard thing with what I've chose to do with my life, whether it's the modeling or makeup and things like that, they're all really fun, from the outside, and so there's not a lot of value placed on that. So I think, in terms of how much you make, you really do have to hustle. You do have to say, this is what I'm worth, because I broke it down and from everything, from your time, going to the store and buying the makeup to, the gas and all of that, you have to have some real confidence behind when you say, this is my price. This is, what I'm charging. And for many years, I didn't really charge because I felt like I wasn't even worthy of charging, because I was just getting started, and I was exploring and I was having fun, right? But there becomes a time where you get older and you're like, this is taking a lot out of me. And, I feel like I've worked enough. I have enough experience. I've worked in these magazines. I've been published. I've been on TV. Once you start to do all those things, and there's so many that you'd be surprised that people see me, oh, I saw you in, Seattle Magazine. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of money that went behind that. That was a big challenge. And so I think if there wasn't passion behind it, if I didn't really love it, I could have never gotten to this point, because there was no money. It wasn't about money, and it still isn't. I love getting my clients ready for whatever they need, whether it's, for a speech, a TED Talk, or a bride. I work with brides of all different budgets, and my team does too. And then the question about, forming the team, I trained a lot of them myself. I worked with them on site, for several different events and weddings. And so you get to know people and who you want to work with and who you want to surround yourself with. And you start to notice other people like you that are really also very passionate, who will do anything, who are happy to do styled shoots. I think I did close to 50 last year. Wow. I was paying to be a part of those. But every single inquiry that I get on my website, one of the first things everyone says is, oh my God, I love your website. And it's because of all the beautiful images, and a lot of them are from styled shoots. This is Abigail.
Yes.
She likes to make an appearance every once in a while. She was given to me right before I got engaged. And so Abigail, Obi is what we call her, is super sweet. She's a year old and she's a puppy and she's a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
But she is the sweetest. And I work from home. I think that's another big challenge. Like, a lot of people don't realize how much time you have to spend behind the computer. It's not just being out there. Like, yes, you see me post on Instagram every day, but it's a half hour of curating a photo and text and uploading it and tagging and hashtagging and all of those things. It's a whole nother business. And so that can be lonely. And I was complaining to my fiance, like, I'm home all the time. I do co-work sessions, and we'll go to Blue Bottle, or we'll go to Phil's, or we'll go to Four Seasons, and I'll get together with other women who are going through the exact same thing as I am. But a lot of times, it's late at night, it's 2 a.m, I'm still working, and I'm responding to emails, and I'm sending invoices and filling out contracts. And that's a huge part of it, is keeping like a well-kept business. And so, Obi helps with that a little bit, because, even though I like to be alone, I still like that like little bit of comfort. And so she's been really great.
When you first moved here, I know that, most of your network's still from Seattle, right? Like, how do you start the Bay Area? I know you start this Rising Tide.
Yeah.
And
so
when
that
you started, how does the women's know about that and want to come to that event?
Yeah.
All those things, yeah.
To find others, when I moved here, I started going on Instagram. I used hashtags, and I found Bay Area models, Bay Area photographers, other Bay Area makeup artists. I started connecting.
Just connect to all the group.
Yes, I started connecting with actual people right on Instagram, sending them DMs saying, hey, let's meet up. Here's my website. Here's my social. So they feel like they can know you and meet with you, and it's not too weird. Through Instagram and Facebook, you can feel like you know someone, and, especially even YouTube as well. And so it was pretty easy. I just started going out, driving to San Jose, driving to San Francisco, and meeting these people and reaching out. And
you love doing it. As in, like, that's part of your passion, to connect with people and connecting everyone together.
Yeah. And they saw that I could help even them connect, and they've been here for so long, but I just really dig deep, and I use every hashtag you can think of. And so then I started going on Facebook, and I had already done this for Seattle, so I knew how easy it was, and I would just search models of San Francisco, Bay Area shoots, and all these different things. And I started becoming group members, introducing myself to each one. And every post, there's 10,000 people in this group, 10,000 in that group, 20, 40 in another group. But you introduce yourself, and you might get 5 or 6 likes, maybe 1 comment, but you go through and see who liked it, and then you connect with them. So I would go in, and I would say, and I would acknowledge whoever would respond in any way, and say, like, hey, I'm here. Here's a modeling photo. Here, who wants to shoot me? And then I was like, I do makeup. Here's my makeup page. And then I'm like, hey, I'll help coordinate something. I'll help coordinate a shoot. And so I was doing it from every angle, just to see what people needed, what people wanted. I was trying to figure out where I could fit in here. And so through that, I found Rising Tide somehow. Someone said, hey, did you know about Rising Tide? I was like, no, what is that? And I went to a meeting, and it changed literally everything. I took a photographer with me that day. We were both like, whoa, this is really cool. There's education. We were going over like taxes and stuff. And May of last year, I'd spent over a year now, and I've grown my own chapter here, because there was nothing in Silicon Valley. And a lot of people said, oh, I don't think there's very many people like you in Silicon Valley. Married or engaged to an engineer that's working at Facebook or Google, or is doing a startup. Everyone is in tech here. Everyone always said that.
Exactly.
And I was like, you know what? If there's me, there has to be other people like me. And I found that out very quickly. Our first meeting, there was like 6, 7 women, and now there's a consistent 10 to 30 at every single meeting out of the 170 that can make it on like a Wednesday night. And it is really powerful. Like, they love it. I love it. It's helped all of our businesses, and you just connect. So it's really about just finding other like-minded people like you, and you can make it happen. And if there isn't one, you create your own, right?
Exactly.
Because people will find you if you know how to use social media. And so that's another thing I do, but on the back end, I do web design and social media, SEO, and I kind of work on that kind of thing. And so that, I guess, helped a little bit to understand computers, understand social media a little bit, but it's always changing. The algorithm's always changing. So you're like constantly reading articles. Okay, this is what's happening this week. And so you just play with it really and try not to let it get frustrating.
I'm sure it will be not a problem for you to like moving places or even staying in somewhere else. That's also developed because like you mentioned that you stay in Dubai before, so you've been like have the traveling background that keeps you somehow like you're not afraid with connecting with strangers and all that,
and taking the risk of moving and things. It's true. I moved away when I was 18. I moved to LA. I had lived in 4 or 5 states before I moved out of the country. Vegas was one, New York was one, Pennsylvania, Colorado.
Wow.
I would just move with friends who were in college. Like I remember moving to Fort Collins, Colorado, like most random place in the world. But I was like, you know what? I want to try living here for a little while and see what it's like and experience like college life, because I didn't go to college or like a 4-year or anything like that. I did like a very quick thing, and I did online. But I had stumbled upon a guy I had met, and he was also traveling a lot, and I ended up moving to the UK and going to school over there for beauty again. And I was the first ever stylist on the PGA for the WAGs, the wives and girlfriends of the professional association over there. And so I got to travel the world for a year on tour with 150 golfers and 20 to 50 women at a time. And I would style them. I was modeling, but I had modeled in India, Dubai, Africa, you name it. While I was traveling, I was doing the same exact thing. Instagram was newer, but I was like, East London or Dubai photographer. I did the same thing when I was traveling, and I connected and met with so many people when I was going. And they saw I had travel schedules up in my posts, and I was like, this week I'm in Dubai, this weekend I'm in Abu Dhabi, this week I'm in, India, and I had all my dates. So I was like, hey, I'm coming. And they were like, whoa, she is traveling. She's legit. She's real. She is going around modeling and styling. Because if I couldn't get in the modeling door, because I'm not the ideal model for everyone, I was getting in as a makeup artist, or I was getting in as coordinating shoots for people. I remember in Dubai, I had found a really new boutique that was online, and she had like Indian wedding dresses, but also makeup. So I was like, why don't we meet when I'm in Doha, and I could style and I could shoot a bunch of your clothes, and I could use your makeup, and I could help you. And it was called Norma's Boutique. And right now she's doing so well over there, but I was one of the first models, and I brought all that stuff back to the UK with me, and I styled other models in it. Wow. So I'm a natural, like you said, I connect, I help. I'm like always thinking of the next thing that I could do to help another person's business, but it's come full circle for me. And I've always believed, I think deep down, that a lot of times, my fiance he's a numbers guy, he's an engineer. But he's like, oh, how much did you make? Or how much is that? Or, what are you getting from that? And I'm always like, nothing right now. Because it's not like I said before, it's not about the money. It's really just all these different passions that I have. And I feel like there's reasons for why, because like when I went to Doha and when I went to Dubai, there was like 10 hashtags that, like when you look up like, that Doha photographer, there was like one. So I was like, I liked every single one of the posts, sent him a DM, and I was like, this is what I'm doing. Like, what, and I would love to work with this model, and I would love to work with this line, and I'd love to wear an abaya and go to the souk and do this. And like, they're like, whoa, this American is just coming over and she's not afraid. She's not scared. Like my own family was like, you're going to the Middle East? And I'm like, yeah. And they were all so weary and like, oh my God, there's bombings. It's like, I was never afraid to go out and, go to, all these beautiful places and explore the lands all by myself. So I did about 30 plus countries in the year, and I lived out of a suitcase, and I went from hotel to hotel with all these golfers, and we went to the most beautiful places. I mean, we were in Hong Kong, and after a year, I said, I am not going on that tour again, because they usually go to the same exact locations for their tour. And I was like, it was okay, but that was the experience. And it was exactly a year, right when the tour was about to start again. I was like, I'm just gonna move back home now. I'm done. Like I had a calm inside that I had seen what I needed to see and done what I had needed to do. And I was ready to come back to the US. So I moved back to Seattle and opened my salon there, and it just took off. It was really great, and I was still modeling, so I was on the cover of different magazines there, and I started working heavily in the bridal industry, and I really was like, you know what, I'm gonna not model as much. I'm gonna put all my energy into being a makeup artist and a hairstylist and building a team, and that's what I did.
If there is one advice for all the dreampreneurs out there, or the dream chasers out there who are still finding their passions and kind of like afraid to taking the risk, what is your kind of like one advice for them?
Well, I'm mentoring now, so you can reach out to me directly and I could help you on your path, on your journey.
Oh, yeah.
Then I've built my business and I've helped so many others build their business, whether it's with SEO or their Instagram or great content or connecting with others, because we don't all have these special skills. They take years to learn and master, and they're always ever changing. And so I always tell people, reach out to someone who is an expert in that and delegate those other tasks that don't excite you and find someone who can help. Get a mentor, someone that you can look up to. I have a few, and it's good to bounce ideas and have a team, a network, but I also do mentoring. So I do online like video, and I also meet in person. I've traveled to my clients. I've traveled for weddings, but I also have traveled back home and to around California to women who are really just trying to figure out what they want to do. And I wouldn't say I'm a life coach or anything like that, but it's more about figuring out your why, the business and your life, and what skills that you have, where you come from, and what comes naturally to you, and pairing that and making a pentagon. Like, what are you good at? What do you love? And what are people going to pay you for? What are people going to value you for? And you make that triangle, and once you have those things, you can move up and on and create a huge empire. And so it's really about, finding people that actually really do want to help you and not just take your money too, because I've met some people like that. And knowing yourself, trusting your inner self, I would say, trusting your gut, and listening to the people that really love you and surround you, not just giving someone a bunch of money and like not telling your dad or your husband or something, like being open with what you want to do and putting those thoughts out in the world. Like, I have a vision board. I've had a vision board, different ones every year since I was in 6th grade. If you can dream it, it's possible, So just, keep working at it and keep going for it, and don't give up.
And keep hustling and
keep hustling.
Just face all the failure. If you face failure, and get back up and just
failure is such a big part of it. I'm glad you said that. I have never seen it as failure, and actually there's so many times that I have gone on like an interview, or I started working with someone and I thought, oh my God, this is going to be so big, or I've reached out to big, brands or influencers, because I also I do that on the side too. And they don't get back to me, or they reject me, but I don't see it as a failure. I'm like, and because other opportunities come in, and I'm like, if I would have took that, I'd still be down there. Yeah. So I don't ever take, you know, I have so many dreams that like, if you tell me one's not possible right now, I'm fine because I have so much else going on. And you just, I love to keep busy, you know, so it's, yeah, just keep going for it.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing, Cassandra. So,
Thank you.
How to find you?
My name is Cassandra McClure, and that's how you can find me, CassandraMcClure.com. That is my beauty site. You can book anything on there if you're in the Bay Area. I have so many different people on my team that specialize in different things: microblading, eyelash extensions, you know, waxing, like whatever you want. So that is my business side, but you can just search me normally, like even on Instagram, the Cassandra McClure, and I'm there. That is my main account, like personally. Obagale's is Obagale the Frenchie. Right. The Bay Area Shoots is at Bay Area Styled Shoots. I have at Cassandra McClure. That's my wedding Instagram, that my bridal team. You'll find me. I do have a YouTube now. I have a couple subscribers, and I try to do vlogs like behind the scenes of the shoots that I'm going to, weddings.
So for audience out there who are dreamers, don't be afraid. I mean, we learned from Cassandra that we don't be afraid to take the risk and just go for it and just hustle it and be busy and find a mentor. And that's really important, and find a network, like-minded people, that's important too. So if you guys want to see more of Cassandra work and know more about her, check out the link. I put the link on the description down below. And thank you so much for watching. Until next time, stay tuned in the next Dreampreneur Chat. Bye.
For a self-made woman like me. This podcast is available on iTunes and other major podcast platforms. Also, you can watch this video podcast at youtube.com/Lydia Isnanto. If you would like to be the guest of the show, please message me and join the group at facebook.com/Dreampreneurs Chat. We'll be releasing new episode every other week, so we'll see you soon in 2 weeks for brand new chat. Until then, remember to share your story with someone, because you never know how one sentence of your life story could inspire others to rewrite their own.